was a typical September evening. The sky was gray and heavy with clouds, and a light rain was falling. The rain was not strong, just enough to make people hurry under their umbrellas. I left my office after a long day of work, feeling tired but calm. My coat was slightly wet from the rain, but the cool air felt refreshing. The city streets were alive with people walking home, holding umbrellas or pulling up their collars to avoid getting wet. I walked slowly along the pavement, enjoying the soft sound of raindrops hitting the ground and the umbrellas. The streets smelled fresh and slightly of wet asphalt. There was a calm feeling in the air, different from the noisy summer evenings. The autumn season had just begun, and the city already felt warmer and quieter. Despite the gray sky, I noticed the leaves on the trees along the street. They were starting to change color. Some were yellow, some red, and some brown. A few had already fallen on the pavement, creating a soft carpet under the feet of the pedestrians. People were walking quickly. Some were talking on their phones. Others were laughing and carrying shopping bags. Everyone seemed to want to get home as soon as possible. But I enjoyed the slow walk. The rain created a cozy atmosphere. I liked how the streets reflected the city lights. Small puddles on the road mirrored the lamps above, making the wet streets look magical. I passed by a small cafe. The warm light from inside looked inviting. Some people were sitting near the window, drinking coffee and talking quietly. I imagined how nice it would be to sit there for a few minutes, drink a hot coffee, and watch the rain. But I continued walking. Home was not far, and I wanted to enjoy the walk a little longer. The sound of the rain was calming. Sometimes a small drop fell on my hair or face, and I smiled. It reminded me of the simple pleasures of life. Even though it was raining, the city felt peaceful. I noticed a few trees in a small park next to the street. Their leaves moved gently with the wind. The smell of wet leaves was strong and sweet. I took a deep breath and felt relaxed. As I walked, I noticed more people hurrying home. Parents with children, couples and elderly people were all moving quickly. Some were holding hands, sharing umbrellas. The rain did not bother them. It was just part of the September evening. I liked the feeling of being outside, being part of the city, but still separate from the hurry and noise. After a few minutes, I reached the bus stop near my street. A small line of people was waiting. I joined them. The bus arrived slowly, moving through the wet streets, making small splashes in the puddles. I paid for the ticket and found a seat by the window. Sitting there, I watched the city pass by. People outside ran under their umbrellas. Cars moved carefully on the wet road. The light rain continued to fall. The bus moved through 4 stops. Each stop gave me a new view of the city. The shops looked cozy with their warm lights. Some windows were decorated with autumn themes. The colors of the trees along the streets made everything look peaceful and soft. I felt happy just looking at the small details of life. The ride was calm. I listened to the sound of the bus wheels on the wet asphalt and watched the rain. The city looked different from the window. It felt like a small world full of movement and light, but at the same time quiet and safe. At the last stop, I got up and stepped out of the bus. The rain had stopped, and the air smelled even fresher. The streets looked calm and clean. I walked the short distance to my house. My steps were light, and I felt a warm feeling in my chest. The simple pleasure of returning home after a day of work was very satisfying. I looked at the streetlights reflecting on the wet pavement. The leaves on the ground were shining slightly, making the path beautiful. When I reached my door, I opened it and stepped inside. The warmth of my home met me immediately. I hung my coat and umbrella. and I could feel the relaxation spreading through my body. The day of work was over, and the evening was mine. I felt calm and happy. Even though it had been raining, the walk, the city lights, and the bus ride had made the evening very pleasant. I sat down for a few minutes, thinking about the day. I remembered the soft rain, the people walking home, the small park with the trees and wet leaves, and the cozy lights from the cafe windows. Everything seemed peaceful and perfect. I smiled, feeling a sense of satisfaction. The autumn evening had given me a small but beautiful experience.